What really are titles? Titles have always been more than words. They are the ornaments of power, the signatures of authority, and sometimes the disguises of oppression. Across continents and centuries, rulers have invented titles to crown their allies and cement their rule. In Britain's empire, honors like Sir, Rai Bahadur, and Khan Bahadur were handed out to those who served imperial interests, not local communities. These designations turned collaboration into a virtue and submission into prestige. In Persia, the Shahs wrapped their courts in elaborate ranks: Sardar, Amir Kabir, Vakil-ul-Mulk. Each title reinforced a single message. The monarch was the axis of all power, and proximity to the throne determined your worth. But this was no Eastern or Western monopoly. From Europe to Asia, Africa to the Americas, the story was the same. The Ottomans minted pashas and beys. Russian czars anointed counts and princes. Japan's emperors declared daimyo and samurai, while Ethiopia's rulers conferred the rank of Raz. Even modern dictatorships have invented their own badges: Hero of the Soviet Union, Marshal of North Korea, symbols designed to glorify the few and keep the many in line. These titles were often less about genuine merit and more about loyalty, less about service to people and more about service to power. They created hierarchies that were meant to look permanent and noble, even when they were little more than the ornaments of submission. Yet long after the palaces have fallen and the flags have changed, the allure of titles remains. We still see them on letterheads, in memoirs, etched into family pride. But each of these names carries a hidden ledger, a record of conquest, coercion, or collusion. Today, the modern generation looks at these titles with a different lens. They don't see them simply as relics to be admired, they see them as clues, breadcrumbs pointing back to an uncomfortable question: what was done to earn them? Was it a favor to a foreign crown? A bargain struck with an occupying army? An allegiance to a throne that silenced dissent? Young people, more connected to history and less deferential to inherited prestige, are starting to ask, whose interests did these honors serve? In many families, a framed certificate or an old medal sits on a shelf, praised in hushed tones. But behind every honor is a transaction, a calculation of usefulness to power. And this is what makes modern audiences uneasy. Because in the bright light of contemporary values, freedom, equality, accountability, titles can look less like recognition and more like receipts. Receipts for favors traded, communities betrayed, or ideals compromised. It is no longer enough to inherit a title or to display it. People want to know, who paid the price so your family could be raised above the rest? This is why the story of titles isn't finished. It lives on in the questions we dare to ask, and in the courage it takes to answer honestly. So before you display that title with pride, ask yourself one question. Are you using a title bestowed by a colonial power or a disgraced, ousted, corrupt leader? And if the answer is yes, then we must also ask, what did you or your ancestors do to deserve that honor?